Can I read this?
Yeah, sure.
It's a contemporary. We have no idea of the author of this. Absolutely no idea. But it's handwritten from 1908 to 1970, and then after that, its subsequent seasons are in the Rothmans football annuals, all of which we've got downstairs. But there's none of this first-hand knowledge, and somebody's clearly written this because it talks about the cup run and it talks about the great victories over Derby. In the first round, we won at Northleigh 3-0, right? Non-league. In the second round, we played Coventry City, who were in the same league as us, 3rd Division South. We drew at home, but we beat them away after extra time, which was kind of nice. And then in the third round, we drew Derby County. And the Derby County were in the First Premier League at the time. And the match ended at 3-2 to Exeter. There was an attendance of 15,000, which was huge in here. But actually, if you read the report, it's quite interesting. I love the language. The whole atmosphere literally hummed with tension, excitement, and the noise the crowd made was unbelievable. Derby got really rattled in the second half. Their left back, Malak, was pretty dirty, this is in inverted commas, and should have gone off. Clark and Ball, I don't know if you pronounce that, B-A-U-G-H, Ball? Anyway, the right flank of the City defence were both off the field injured at one time. No substitutions. And I think it was when they were down to 9 men that Exeter got their third goal. A low shot by Armfield down at the St James's Road end. And that virtually sealed the game. Although the very last kick of the match was an aerial clearance by Barber from right under the City crossbar. And it says that Dennington, the City captain, twisted his knee 4 days after the Derby Cup party in a league game at Torquay and never played again. That's a low, when you're looking at highs and lows.
Yeah, sure.
Jack Angus then went about 19, was thrust into the team of the fourth round game played at Bury in a snowstorm. So the first round, 10th of January, fourth round, 24th of January, fifth round, 14th of February. Yeah? Sixth round, 28th of February. 2 weeks between each. I don't know what they did about tickets. Just queued up, I suppose. What did my father say? I think they queued. They were like past what was the Odeon, or whatever it was, down there queuing just to come into the game. And partly this is right because they won against Derby in the third round. Derby were a Premier League side. The next round was Bury, which were a second division side away. We won at Bury, right, in a cup. We always play Bury in a cup. The attendance was 11,000. It was played in a snowstorm. And then the fifth round, we're against Leeds at home. And Leeds, again, were a Premier League side, first division in those days. And we beat Leeds 3-1, and the attendance then was 20,000. The goal scorers were Purcell and Hout. It says about Leeds, Exeter's fifth round tie against Leeds was almost a walkover, despite being Leeds in Premier League. Houghton had a marvellous game. He was Exeter's star of that period, but although there were offers from Tottenham and Wolves, and one or two for him, Exeter held on to him and eventually let him go to Norwich City in 33-34. Actually, this is kind of written by somebody who knew a lot as well, because there's kind of like little inside bits. He later played for Bristol Rovers but retired quite young. I believe he's in business in Liverpool, his birthplace now, but we're still in contact with his grandson or son?
Grandson.
When the draw for the sixth round came out away to Sunderland, no one, of course, gave the City a dog's chance. I love that. Despite their famous victories of the earlier rounds. Again, it was Harold Houghton who enabled them to draw at Roker Park, and for replay on the following Wednesday. So Saturday you're playing at Roker Park, you draw 1-1, and then suddenly you've got to deal with a crowd at home. I don't know what we do now. And how they dealt with it then, I have absolutely no idea. It'd be more interesting to find out how they sold the tickets. I mean, people just queued. They just queued. Again, it was, so we got Harry. And it says that the Wednesday, the city of Exeter, literally, not Exeter City, but the city of Exeter literally went football mad. It was like a carnival. And this guy says, I remember it well because I left school on the previous Friday, began working in an office on Monday, March the 2nd, and had to apply for half a day off 2 days later. Right? this was granted. So he wasn't, you're fired. St James's Park was crammed to suffocation. Although it was pouring with rain, Sunderland were a fine team and deserved their win or not. All right. Although there was a disputed goal and photographs to prove that Armfield had scored for Exeter in the second half. But it was disallowed on the grounds that the ball was not crossed the line. But even if Exeter had got their third goal, I think Sunderland would still have won. And it says 3 days after the cup knockout, Exeter went to Notts County in a league game. Notts were top of the league by a mile and unbeaten at home all season. Exeter did a spot more giant, beating them 2-1 at Meadow Lane. So what we've got a few seasons later as well is, where was it? Where we played in the Third Division Cup.
Yeah, tell me about that.
I guess the third, that's like the EFL, by any other name. So I mean these matches were going on. So we won the Third Division Cup, and the cup exists, but we don't have it, and that's shameful. It was during its initial season as well. So we're inaugural winners of this. We beat Watford 4-2, Crystal Palace 11-6. Okay, aggregate, which is the biggest aggregate football match that Exeter have ever played in? You tell me. I know. Was it that one? Coventry City 2-1 after a 1-1 draw. We beat Brighton 4-3 after 1-1 and the 3-3 draws, because you just kept playing replays. If you draw, none of this penalty shootout. Just play the match again. Finish at 90 minutes. Play the match. They probably didn't do extra time because all the trains, nobody had got home. And they beat Torquay in the final at Plymouth 1-0. And like I say, the cup exists. It exists somewhere. I don't know where. And then really, there's some great players who played during that decade. Well, like cup runs and very exciting, doesn't it? Yeah. It seems like the city goes mad. It seems like, probably the sort of days we'd all want. I mean, crowds of 20,000, the record crowd against Sunderland. We would never get 20,000 near this ground now, even if it was all standing. And as Guy says, it was really packed. I mean, I can remember being here with 19,000 against Manchester United, and it was you just couldn't get in. I sat on a wall.